the thing is if we want to think about this as the blend and how are you going to blend together your career, your professional life, your job, your side hustle, and all the other things that you are responsible to and for, and it's possible. Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we're dedicated to helping product-based business owners turn into revenue-generating, successful, happy product bosses. I'm Jacqueline Snyder.
And I'm Mina Kunlo-Sitep. Together through digital courses, coaching, and masterminds, we've helped over 50,000 students from startup to multi-million-dollar businesses scale their sales while blending in their dream life.
It gets lonely out there in the product business world. We fully believe a business shouldn't be built alone. There's room at the top for all of us.
So let's get scrappy and creative together, Product Boss, to be profitable, make more sales, and grow your visibility.
Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Hey friends, it's podcast recommendation time. This month, we've been obsessed with listening to the Being Boss podcast, hosted by the incredible Emily Thompson.
Yeah, Emily does an amazing job talking about what it takes to be boss as a creative business owner, freelancer, and side hustler. She explores the mindsets, habits, and tactics of using creative ambitions to start and grow your business so that you can take control of your work and live life on your own terms.
So inspiring. One of my favorite episodes of hers is Systems and Strategies for Business Growth, where Emily shares kind of a peek behind the scenes at the growth of her product and retail business, Almanac Supply Co., which you know that another thing we've been obsessed with lately is crystals and business building around the universe.
We're very woo now.
Woo-ish, I would say.
Woo-ish. So this is one of the reasons we love Emily, because we love how open she was about how her team uses marketing tactics to continue innovating and finding purpose to further the growth of the company. And it helps bridge that online and in-person shopping experience, something we always tell our community to do.
Listen to Being Boss wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey friends. Okay. This is one of the number one questions we get asked by so many of our students, especially those of you that we're live with inside of our boot camps and our challenges. And this question is can I have a successful product business as a side hustle? Because for so many of you, you are working full-time, potentially maybe multiple jobs. You have this idea or you've started this company that's a product-based business and it's your side hustle. And you're unsure if there's even the ability for it to be successful while you're splitting your time between your professional career and also trying to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Shout out to all of our side hustlers, because lots of times, they're working that full-time job. They might have kids or, other things. They're really side hustling on all the side hustling, they have limited time compared to everybody, the full-time product bosses.
Yeah. And we say that, but the thing is, it's so funny. I think about like parenting. Because I remember in my 20s when I'd come back from work and I'd be so tired and I'd like get on my couch and I'd watch 3 hours of The Biggest Loser. And I'd be so tired and I'd be like, oh, I have no time, but I'm spending 3 hours watching The Biggest Loser. Now I've got kids and I laugh at my younger self and I'm like, oh, all that time I had that I no longer have, right? And even having my own business, and you and I both have 2 businesses each, like there is still not enough time. So we're always going to end up in this world of feeling like we don't have enough time. So I think what it is what we do with that time. And so as a side hustler, having this business, I think the question to your answer, the short answer to your question is yes. Yes, you can have a successful product-based business as a side hustle. And that can be something that complements your business. It can be the thing that provides you extra cash flow for things like you dream of, for spending money, for investing into something, for savings, or to be the way out of needing a full-time job or a career and then becoming to be a full-time product boss.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, having 2 businesses, I think that we know that there's more of a give and take. So for example, when you have 2 businesses, shout out to anybody who has 2 businesses as well, there is going to be one that there's less focus on. Just like when you have 2 kids, it's harder than 1 kid because you're not focused on the 1 kid, right? But when you're side hustling, so there has to be some focus on your full-time job and then your side hustling. So how do we get you to the point where you do potentially get to leave your full-time job if that's so, what you choose? But know that I have tons of respect for side hustlers because I know that I always used to think, gosh, I am pretty productive with my time. And then I had 2 kids and I thought, gosh, this is a struggle. Then now with 2 businesses, I think this is a real big struggle. So, but there's things that I do to kind of get myself in a better position. So for all of you that are in a side hustle, we're going to give you some pointers on getting yourself in a better position where you, like Jacqueline said, might be feeling like, yes, this is worth it. It will be worth it because eventually, you'll be able to leave your full-time job or be able to take that vacation you're saving up for or whatever it is that you're doing that side hustle for.
Yeah. And now I do want to start this, and Mina and I kind of invented this concept or created this concept, and I want to kind of reinforce it here is we really talk about all of this as the blend. So there's not a balance, there's not a juggle, but there is a blend. That to us has been the most kind of like clear way that we could explain how to live our lives, because we think that when it comes to balance, you have to have really good balance. And like, what's really balancing? And usually like with balance, something is taking the weight, then something else. And then when we think about juggling, there's something up in the air, there's something falling, like it just doesn't feel right. But blending means, and if you think about a smoothie, it's what are the ingredients that it's going into that smoothie at that moment. Sometimes you may want more chocolate, and more chocolate might be your full-time job. And sometimes you're like, less chocolate, I'm going to do more berries.
I would say full-time job is vanilla.
I really like vanilla, but okay. Whatever it is, right? It's the recipe, it's the ingredients, and there's different things that have more space in that blender than other things, but it's the blend. So what I also learned from Mina, as I had never heard of the language around like seasons, like what season are you in? Sometimes we might be in like a really busy season because we've got little kids and so much time is being taken up from that. And so it's way harder to be in a career, have little kids, and grow a side hustle. Kids do get older. It does go fast, even though it feels like forever. It goes fast. And we're like, okay, we're going to establish this. Both Mina and I established the Product Boss with 2-year-olds as our youngest kids. It was something.
2-year-olds that didn't nap. You know how like sometimes
I get
they
so
nap?
mad at people that would tell us like their kids are napping for 3 hours and that's when they work.
Or that they say just work when they're napping. Okay.
But if
when
they don't?
is that? When is that?
What if they don't believe in sleep?
So yeah, I agree that has a lot to do with the blend because then, it's like the reason why it made so much sense to me was because before when I would try to kind of, I don't know, like separate it or compartmentalize it or whatever it was, it felt like I could never get into a flow until I thought, oh, I'll just blend it all together. And this is how we live. And that's perfectly fine. That I might have, laundry, teaching my kids about doing laundry one day. Actually, I don't do laundry, so that was a bad analogy. But, teaching
well, that's
them,
the thing though, right? Like not doing laundry was your choice of the blend of like this not being a priority to you right now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So again, Mina, and I have laundry as like a big ingredient in mine, right? Like we can decide that. So I think we're going a little sideways here. But the thing is if we want to think about this as the blend and how are you going to blend together your career, your professional life, your job, your side hustle, and all the other things that you are responsible to and for, and it's possible. So let's get into some of the things, how you can run a small business while working that full-time job, right? We know it's challenging, but it is possible for you to be successful. And so here are some tips for you to be able to manage across the board the responsibilities you have to you being the boss of your business, as well as being an employee or working a full-time job. So the first one would be set a schedule. Now, Mina and I live and die by our schedules. We have different ways of doing it, but we both really believe in schedules.
Yeah, for sure. Because my schedule is the most important thing to me because it's where I can set my boundaries and show my priorities. So for example, I really Like when my schedule is full, I feel like my freedom's being taken away. But when I have control of my schedule and set in bookends, let's say, hey, I'm going to work in between this time, then I feel like, ooh, that feels good because I know I'm adjusting it to what I find important, you
Yeah.
know? So I think for all of you, also setting a schedule also gives you more like proactiveness. You're preemptively being productive, right? Because you're like, ooh, that's in my schedule for this week. And I know what's coming up instead of having to react to everything that pops into your head or to have to think, darn it, I should have been working on my product business during this time, instead of scrolling social media. When you actually set a schedule for like, hey, I'm going to set every Wednesday morning, I'm going to wake up an hour early. And then every Thursday night, I'm going to work on, let's say, multi-stream machine or my business or whatever, then that that you show up and you already know what to do. There's no decision fatigue of when and where and what you're working on. Keeping customers happy is a top priority in business. We all know that. Customer retention is key, especially in today's world where people are being sold products everywhere they look. Having loyal customers that trust you and your business is a must.
Absolutely. And you can't have loyal customers without a strong team. Even if your team is only you and your team, or you and yourself, are the foundation of your business. And you know what they say, a business without a strong foundation will crumble.
That's why so many businesses use HubSpot as their CRM choice. HubSpot helps your team stay connected so they can focus on a more personalized customer experience, because keeping your customers happy is necessary if you want your business to grow.
HubSpot makes sure you and your whole team have access to the same data so all of you know what's going on 100% of the time. It also helps you automate tedious tasks, keep track of contact info, and keep track of all of your sales all in one place.
Remember, when you take care of your customers to the best of your ability, you're building customer retention and loyalty, which is one of your biggest goals as a product-based business owner.
Get started for free at HubSpot.com. Hey, Product Boss, I'm just going to jump in real quick because we have a really exciting announcement. We would love to invite you to our Sell More, Do Less Bootcamp. Now, this is the Product Boss's guide to becoming a money-making machine. So if you are ready to transform your business, we invite you to join us at theproductboss.com/sell more. That's theproductboss.com/sell more. Now, this is going to be a game-changing series of live workshops and a challenge. And we want to help you transform your business into a profitable money-making machine fast, because we know you have massive goals and you'll get that step-by-step training and accountability to help you reach them. We're going to spend 21 days in a private Facebook community where we'll deliver our 8-step bestseller growth formula over 8 live trainings and Q&As. So if you only have 8 hours to give in the next 3 weeks, you'll have everything you need to sell more products while doing less. So come join us at theproductboss.com/sell more, and we'll see you inside.
My name is Gina Rosen, and my business name is Fan Sparkle. I found Jacqueline and Mina and the Multi-Stream Machine on Facebook, and very quickly realized that this was these were my people. Since joining Multi-Stream Machine, I have seen an increase in sales by 87.5%, and I've seen an increase in my average order value by 50%. So happy that I'm able to be a part of this community, and I look forward to what the future holds.
So as Mina said, we want you to plan your days or your weeks in advance, right? We want you to look at it and say, okay, this is my work hours, put all the essential things. You have to pick up your kids, you have a standing, like you're going to the gym, you're taking care of yourself, whatever it is, put that into your calendar. And then we want you to be realistic about how much time you really are going to dedicate to your business on those days. So if it's 20 minutes for a quick, 20-minute sprint of something, then block it out as 20 minutes. If you know you've got more time in the day or on a weekend that you're like, I'm going to get up early, like Mina said, and then do a 3-hour push. Just for you, you have to think about what's realistic for you, what you're going to show up for. Like it's an appointment you've got set with somebody. and which days you're going to do this on, right? And try and stick with this as best as possible. We know that life happens, but if you treat it, I put it in my Google Calendar. That's how I do it. I block it. I'll block time in like right now we're recording podcasts and it's blocked. Record podcasts. We blocked
and it says high priority next to it too.
High
Our
priority.
team's like, do not move this block.
But we taught them how to schedule for how we scheduled because either it has to live in our brain that we have to batch out a whole bunch of podcasts, for example, which for any of you might be like production or making or designing, right?
Mhm.
And then we know we have to do it, and and it's a priority because there is a deadline to this. So however you feel,
I want to give a tip a little bit. This is
Yeah.
what we teach our multi-stream machine students that are in our VIP, MSM VIP, use the acronym ART. If you're setting your schedule, it's appointments, A for appointments. Always put your appointments in there. For all of you that work a full-time job, that's considered an appointment. You know that you have to be somewhere at some specific time. So
you
that's
might even
A,
include
appointments.
your drive time on that too. So if you want to,
Yeah,
if it,
buffer
it takes you
time.
30 minutes to get there and 30 minutes to get back and whatever, like block that whole time in so that you know, when you're back and ready, you can work.
Yeah. And then also like if you're a full-time product boss and you use this tip, know that this is like, let's say you have to go to a doctor's appointment, pick up your kids, whatever it is. And so then R is for routine things. So this is really important too, because, Jacqueline says live or die by it. And I agree. If you don't put the R in it, which is routine things, you're not going to be really living up to what you wanted to. And that is like, I want to take a walk every day. Jacqueline and I actually have a walk and talk that's set into our schedule. Go to the gym, practice yoga, meditate, all those things. That comes in second because you're taking care of you. And then next and last but not least is the T of ART. And that is time blocks and time blocks in your schedule. So time blocks and tasks, essentially. So for example, go through module 3 website in multi-stream machine. It could be call wholesalers, whatever it is that you're doing within that time period. And that is the time block. So that is how you set your schedule to make it really easy. You just run through that. It should take you no more than 15 minutes to run through that to set your schedule for the upcoming week.
So that goes to our next tip, which is prioritize tasks. So you talked about tasks. So when we're talking about this, right, we want you to set your schedule and then we want you to prioritize your tasks. So in this way, write a list. Like one of the easiest ways to overcome overwhelm is just to brain dump. Sit there for 5 minutes with a notebook and pen and just all the things that you need to get done, put it down on paper. Even if it's to the point of I need to something minor.
I always do minor, but return hat to Amazon, or buy toilet paper or whatever it is. That whole brain dump is where you start. And then I would say for all of those, you could circle the top 3. So for example, these are the things that I want to get done this week or this day or whatever. And then the rest is kind of secondary tasks. What's that called? Prioritization.
Right. So make a list of the tasks that you need to get done, right? All of them together. And then you can prioritize them based on importance, like Mina said. And then decide which tasks you're going to do on which days, right? Remember that you're going to focus on the most urgent or will have the biggest impact on your business. So you might have return hat to Amazon, which might be something blocked into your calendar, like Mina was saying, of returns, right? Or go to Amazon Fresh and make the returns, whatever it is. You might actually block that into your calendar. But what we're talking about here right now is business stuff. So what is the most urgent or will have the biggest impact? Maybe it's that you're showing up to a live challenge you signed up for, and that's urgent because it's the time thing. Like Mina and I said about making this podcast, we had to create a certain amount of podcasts. It is a high priority because it's urgent because we have deadlines to get things together for. So think about it like that. Go to your highest priority because some of the other things you might just decide live on the bottom of the list and you never actually get to, but they're taking up a lot of space in your head. And we really want you to prioritize here.
Yeah, not everything is urgent. I will tell you that. I don't know, urgency makes me feel anxious for sure, but it's the things that matter to you the most. Okay. So prioritize the things that matter to you the most and that will make the most impact. So we're talking high impact in whatever your life is. I want to make sure I work on my business. So of course, high priority for me would be showing up live to these workshops, for example, because I know that will make the most impact because I love to learn in that way would be a good example.
So another thing that's a key part here is to stay motivated, right? And this is really hard.
Yeah. As I say, yeah.
As Venus like, I've already given up.
Yeah, staying motivated is hard because it's hard to it's hard to stay self-motivated.
Yes.
Because the amount of time it takes. So if you're working a side hustle, for example, your goals might be further away because you only have so much time. It might take you more time, right?
Yes.
Because you're working in the wee hours of the morning or late night or whatever ends up being
or
the
your
time
lunch breaks, like whatever it is. So I think it's hard to stay motivated because not all in all, this is exhausting, right?
Yeah.
Like we need to sleep at some point. We need to be there for people that are important to us. And it's exhausting, especially if you're not necessarily getting the results you're looking for. So like there was someone this morning on a live call that we had that said, I'm actually considering getting a full-time job because I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm hopeless and giving up. So we don't want any of you to feel that way. So this could be the flip for you. You could have been trying this and feeling like, you know what, I need a full-time job because like this isn't working. So time is so important here because we have a scarcity of money and scarcity of time, meaning how much money do you have to make work for how much time until you have to stop the business or you give up on the business. So if you want to stay motivated while you have this full-time job or motivated while you're a full-time product boss and you're like, I don't want to go back and get a full-time job, I think one of the best ways to stay motivated is to get into community, which is what we create inside of our challenges, that you're showing up and you're listening to this podcast so you don't feel alone and you're hearing other people's stories. And also having action steps to follow or a roadmap, or if you've been doing something for so long in a certain way.
I feel like it's so I'm trying to find the Amy Porterfield. The Amy Porterfield, we loved having her on episode 450. Go back to that. It's from Employee to Entrepreneur with Amy Porterfield of Online Marketing Made Easy. Her motivator a lot of times that she talked about was having an exit date. So that you have like, you're motivated because you're like, ooh, this is where I want to be at this time. And you're able to like give yourself somewhat of like a pseudo deadline of, this is when I plan to leave my full-time job,
Right.
And that can be motivating too, is, sticking with those goals and knowing that there is, a bright light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And I think, and what we always do, and we start this in a lot of our programs, is like we say, start with your win, right? We start off our coaching calls. We start off certain things like share your win, because even a small win is something that like our human minds automatically look for the negative always versus going to the positive first. You're really special if you go to the positive first. So if you can celebrate your small wins, for example, or just finding the little things that are one step more. Oh, now I feel like I have a clear action step. Oh, now I've set a goal for this month. Or I reached out to 10 stores and one of them said they're going to get back to me. It was a response. Instead of looking at it as a fail, it's like I reached out to 10 stores and only one person got back to me. It's like
instead
one person
of like,
did.
This isn't working. You focus on what is working.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And so we want you to stay motivated. That's like a number one tip. And like Mina said, you set a goal, an exit date, a certain amount of money. I'm going to start generating an additional $2,000 a month in my business. And when I get there, then I'm going to take the next step. Because the thing is you don't need to know everything right now. You do not need to have the entire plan path paved for you right now. You just need to keep taking like that next step. And it first starts with you believing that, yes, it is possible for you to have a successful side hustle while working a full-time job. That is the very first thing you need to convince yourself of, that it is possible. How? The how is going to come, right? The what steps to take is going to come. But first, it's that belief in the possibility.
Yeah, I love the way that you ended it because, as we're going through the challenge, one of the things that we brought up in the challenge was don't focus on the entire staircase, right? Sometimes we're visioning this staircase to wherever it's going to our goal. Focus on the next step. What's the next step that you need to take? And I think for all of you, especially when you're working in side hustles, know that, the top of the staircase, it is where you want to be. It's, working, or it's turning this side hustle into full-time, whatever it ends up being. But how do you get there? Step by step by step.
Yeah.
And I think for all of you, we try to keep that, journey on that staircase really fun. So make sure that you join us in the challenges, because when Jacqueline's talking about, what you're spending your time on, especially as a side hustle, you can shortcut a lot of this by inserting yourself into the right rooms. When I say that, I mean into the training rooms that we're offering you, especially if they're free. We had somebody who is a side hustle that said that she actually puts a fake meeting into her full-time job, into her calendar, so she can attend the live workshops, right?
Meaning her colleagues aren't necessarily going to like bother her or talk to her because they think she's in a meeting, but that meeting might be for herself. Don't tell her boss.
Yeah. Well, we did not release any information that
All
would,
names are kept confidential.
But I think that that's a great tip, because she did what was really, great, and she put it into her calendar, and she made sure that she was staying committed to showing up where she wanted to show up, and I love that.
Yeah. So we want that for you too. Come join us again. And we're so glad that you listened to this episode. And as always, if this was helpful, please leave us a positive review. Make sure to follow the show and share it with a fellow product boss that needs to hear the message today. Thank you, my friends.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for being here and listening all the way through the Product Boss podcast. If you love our show and it has helped you in any way in your business, would you mind doing 2 things for us? Subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review. Reviews help other product entrepreneurs know that this is the place to be to grow their businesses and realize that they're not alone. And we know that you all know that a 5-star and honest review helps you sell more products to more people. So you know that your reviews help us reach more listeners around the world. Remember, what we give is what we receive, and we are all about helping each other in the Product Boss community. We are all in this together. We would be so appreciative of you if you could take the time right now to subscribe, leave a review, and even share this episode on social or someone you know, so we can impact more lives. And remember, subscribing means that you will get notified each time we release a new episode, so you never miss a thing. You have helped us grow and climb into the top 10 of all marketing podcasts, and together we can keep climbing. Thank you, friends. And remember, there is room at the top for all of us.